Good afternoon and welcome back. I wanted to take a minute to do a quick video on who I am and what my background is. A short, brief resume, if you will, just to explain to you what my background is and why I even feel like I can talk about the matter of travel. So I have spent the last 17 years in the law enforcement community as a police officer, the last 9 of which has been as a police sergeant. I am currently assigned into our communications department. However, I have served as uniform patrol on the gang unit in the investigations division. I've done bike patrol. I've worked inside communities, and I have worked in a city that has a crime rate that rivals cities much larger. I have been very blessed not to have to use my service pistol or any serious weapon. I have used taser, and I've also used OC spray on people before, and as well as defensive tactics. That having been said, I have had to draw my pistol. I've had to search multiple buildings. I've been to countless calls, including one setting where there was a school shooting. Wasn't anybody hurt, but there were shots fired inside the school. Myself and another officer at the time were the first 2 arriving units. He went to the front of the school. I was at the back of the school. I was about to go in and was able to take the kid who'd had the gun into custody with one of the teachers. My hat is off to that teacher to this day. I have worked uniform mostly. I've been plainclothes in the gang investigation unit, and I've also been in suits and ties with the detective bureau. I've done bike patrol, which gave me the fun short shorts that they like to give police officers for bike patrol. Before I ever went into law enforcement, my father was in law enforcement and still is to this day. So I grew up in a police officer family. He was a deputy before that. So I've literally been around the community my entire life. My father always practiced good safety measures, and I've always felt fairly confident just about anywhere we go. Now, my travel background. I've been to every state east of the Mississippi, just about. I have been to Oklahoma and Texas numerous times. I've been to Utah once. I've also had the occasion and the chance to go to Scotland in 2018, most recently Germany in 2023, and back in 2007 I was able to go to Spain, Portugal, and Morocco with college. In my adult life, myself and my wife are normally the ones that make the plans for our trips. I really like to do that type of stuff, so I like to come up with a budget for it. I like to come up with a travel plan. We talk together about what we want to see when we get there, and we come up with a plan together on how to pack and what we need and what our mode of transportation is going to be. In my travels, I've had a chance to go to neighborhoods that most people wouldn't maybe go to, because I'm not afraid to just kind of drive around. One of my favorite things to do is actually just get lost wherever I'm at and kind of experience culture as a local would. I try to stay out of restaurants that are just touristy restaurants, because I feel like you get a better sense of the place if you go to local food. When it comes to the international travel and the plans that you make to prepare for safety incidents, going all the way back to 2007 when I was in college, got familiar with the CIA World Book, and more recently with Department of Homeland Security or Department of State's files on travel advisories. Admittedly, Scotland and Germany aren't the most high-risk places. That having been said, we did encounter issues in both trips that went smoothly, mainly because the tips that I've mentioned already are tips that I followed. For example, in 2018 when we were in Scotland, my wife and I were approached by a gentleman who clearly seemed to be on some type of narcotic and gestured as though he was talking about heroin. He was very adamant about trying to get into the parking garage that we had just come out of, which required a ticket to let him in. I did exactly what I mentioned in my previous video. I deflected, I did not engage with him, and we went the opposite direction. this past October when we were in Germany, we didn't run into a problem so much as we ran into what appeared to be a problem. And that involved, we were in the old part of Frankfurt, and a large presence of police officers showed up, and a guy was demonstrating. The demonstrator was demonstrating in a language other than English and other than German, which I have a limited capability of, so I didn't know what he was demonstrating. So as the police showed up, I was taking note of what was going on and communicating with my wife, because we did have our daughters on this trip. And in doing so, I was able to go up into one of the police officers, ask if there was about to be a demonstration or something. They said no, that the president of, I believe, Serbia was showing up. I could be wrong about that. So we had a plan in place in case things went sideways to where we were going to get out of the area. We had indicated which direction we were going to go, and fortunately nothing happened, but we were ready. So I say all that to say that's my background in a nutshell. Am I the end all be all for travel and security? No. There are definitely people who know way more than me, but I'd like to share tips and tricks as I can to help you plan the best trip that you possibly can to enjoy, and how to keep you and your family safe. So as I always say in conclusion, go out there, experience some part of the world you haven't been to, whether it's in your own state, another country. Try local food, see what the locals do, and make sure you enjoy it. Just make sure you also stay aware and be prepared.